Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about Thor Ragnarok. But before I do that, I just want to remind you guys that all my videos are spoiler free unless noted otherwise, so don't worry about me ruining any of the favorite parts that you might be seeing later, or if you already have seen it. But let's go ahead and get to the review now. So I went to see Ragnarok early this morning, and I gotta say, I loved it so much. The Thor movies they've been all right. They haven't been the best of the MCU so far. I mean, the first one was good. The second one's probably lower down the list as far as my rankings go, but it's still likable. But I gotta say, this one is probably near the top. There are just so many great things to say about Ragnarok, and I'm gonna talk about a lot of them. So the first thing I want to talk about is the characters. Now, of course, we have Thor. Chris Hemsworth at his best here, just killing it. He's always been a favorite of mine as far as the character and him as an actor as well. He's got some serious comedic chops, especially in Ghostbusters, even with the poor writing that happened in that movie. But he's really good in this, continuing to just make the character awesome. Then we have, of course, Loki by Tom Hiddleston. Now, Loki's been an RA character. I was not a fan of him in the Avengers, mainly just because I found him annoying. But in the other Thor movies, I've come to like him a little bit more. With him being the god of mischief, you never really know what's going to happen. So you don't know if he's going to be a bad guy, a good guy, or what he's going to do. Who's he going to betray this time? Because he's double crossed Thor, he's double crossed everybody, he's double crossed the double cross. He's been all over the place. And then, of course, this one we have Bruce Banner and the Hawk. The one thing that everybody was looking forward to in the trailers was that little gladiator battle between Thor and Hawk, and I gotta say it does deliver there. But not only do we get mostly the Hawk, but we get Bruce Banner as well, and we needed to see more of him and Mark Ruffalo just because he does such a great job at it. Um, and he's just really good. Probably another one of my favorite actors within the universe. And this one also introduces a bunch of new characters. The first one we have is the Grandmaster, played by Jeff Goldblum, who you can tell is just having such a fun time with his character. He's got like blue nails on. He's got like a blue soul patch. Looking all spiffy in like a yellow suit. Living in like orgies and stuff like that. And you can just tell he's having a blast, just sitting there doing his thing. Everybody knows he's a great actor, so he doesn't have to try. Then we have Valkyrie, who's a new character. I was unfamiliar with her completely, but basically she starts out as a somewhat antagonist, but ends up teaming up with Thor, Loki, and the Hawk towards the end to take on Hela, played by Kate Blanchett, who I gotta say is probably one of the better MCU villains of the series, because as you know, most of the ones that we've seen so far are pretty bland. Besides maybe Obadiah Stane, and then my personal favorite, Vulture. I guess Loki is good in the Avengers. Like I said, I don't like him, but I know a lot of people do consider him one of the better ones. But like Yellow Jacket, the one from Iron Man 2, Whiplash, their backstories aren't that great, and they're just kind of bland. Um, the other thing that I wanted to talk about in this movie was the humor. Now, the MCU is known for its humor, or it's gotten to be. It used to be a little bit more serious, maybe around the time of like Iron Man, Iron Man 2. But pretty much, I think ever since the Avengers came out, it's really integrated humor well. Most notably in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, mainly just because of the cast playing off of each other, and then the deliberate attempts of humor as well. And I gotta say, this one, compared to Galaxy of the Guardians 2, or excuse me, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, this is probably the funniest. I have to watch that one again, but they're pretty much even as far as being funny. And that's not a terrible thing at all. It just makes the movie so much better. The opening sequence with Thor and the giant fire monster is great. All the dialogue between Thor, Loki, Thor, and Hawk, Jeff Goldblum just being Jeff Goldblum. There's just a lot of really, really funny moments, references to the other movies. Stan Lee's cameo is hilarious. There's just so much humor to be found here, and I was laughing hysterically. The audience was as well. Um, and I'm just glad that the MCU has managed to make that a part of the series, but without taking away from the action and just like feeling any of it feeling forced. The next thing I wanted to talk about was basically just the plot. I mean, apparently this one's pretty big on setting up Infinity War. The only one I haven't seen so far is Doctor Strange, and he does play, I'm assuming, a crucial role in this one, from what I understand. So there's a scene towards the beginning with him, and I feel like I could have enjoyed it more having seen that movie, just because I'm not familiar with his powers, his backstory, or essentially what part he plays within the universe. And I do need to watch that probably later today just to get that figured out. But his scene was funny as well, and there's just some. I wish I would have seen more of him, and I know that he's going to be part of. I'm assuming the Avengers, but don't spoil that for me. I'll find out when Infinity War comes out. The other thing with this is there's two parts um, using the same song that one of my favorite songs and probably two of my favorite sequences in the movie, and that would be the opening sequence. Once again, with him fighting the fire monster, played to Led Zeppelin's "Immigrant Song." Now, if you guys are unaware, Led Zeppelin is pretty strict on people using their music in films and video games. I'm not sure why, but it's very rare that you'll ever see their songs in a movie. And Thor managed to get them, and it made Ragnarok so much better both of the times because it's basically in sync with it, and Thor just is immediately more badass, especially at the beginning. But there's also a scene towards the end. When I heard it come on again, I just smiled like I was smiling like crazy. I was just so happy, and it made the whole scene so much more awesome. Um, but yeah, I mean, compared to the other Thor movies, it was just so much better. It's definitely one of my more favorites of the Marvel universe, and this year's been pretty good. We've got three movies this year: Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and then Thor Ragnarok. And I think that all three of them were great. Probably in my top seven of the MCU. Uh, the other thing that I think Ragnarok did well is there might not be people who are fans of the MCU or just superhero movies in general, mainly because, they might find everything the same, stuff like that. But this one, I think it honestly could be a standalone, mainly because what it feels like is a buddy cop movie, essentially, like 48 Hours or Lethal Weapon, because we've got, two muscly guys, Thor and Hawk, and then Loki, basically just quipping each other, comedic quips everywhere, giving each other shit, laughing, working together, some kick-ass action scenes, firing guns, whatnot. The giant, like the big gladiator scene in the movie or the trailer didn't disappoint. Um, you know, some of the dialogue was improvised. Actually, 80% of the movie was. And there's a great line that was actually, I learned it was requested by a child cancer patient who improvised the line. It was like, "Oh, hey, I know him. We're friends at work." And I thought that was really cool, and it was just really sweet. And you can just tell Hemsworth and Ruffalo were just having so much fun together. Tom Hiddleston, I started to like him a lot more, and his character Loki, who is probably one of the more complex characters in the MCU at this point, maybe along with Nebula, I believe, from Guardians 2. But either way, guys, you need to check this movie out. If you're a fan of the MCU, go see it right now. Like I said, even if you're not and somebody drags you, I still think you can enjoy this by itself, and it might even make you want to check out the other ones. But all I know is I'm waiting for Infinity War. We need a trailer by the end of the year, and I have a feeling it's going to be during The Last Jedi. So I cannot wait for that, and I hope you guys enjoy this review, and I hope you guys enjoy Ragnarok. So take care.